Hello and welcome to Computer Tech and More. Today we're going to take a look at the WonderSnail and the TL-B12. This is part of my redone series where I redid my complete noise analysis with a new testing methodology, so let's get right into it. Alright, so first up is noise normalized through my CPU air cooler. The TL-B12 was ranked 29th, it is now ranked 28th. A slight uptick in RPM, and the airspeed would be effectively the same. The WonderSnail started off at 19th and has dropped to 32nd, so an overall loss in performance. In terms of cooler performance, at 100% PWM fan signaling, the TL-B12 was ranked 22nd and retains that position, and the WonderSnail was ranked 9th and retains that position. Cooler value proposition, noise normalized, the TL-B12 was ranked 20th, it is now ranked 14th. The WonderSnail was ranked 13th and is now ranked 17th. Value proposition at 100%. PWM fan signaling, the TL-B12 retains its position at 16th, and the WonderSnail retains its position at 14th. CFM testing, noise normalized, the TL-B12 was ranked 30th and is now ranked 32nd, so a little bit of a loss in positioning. The WonderSnail was ranked 42nd and is now ranked 46th, so again a loss in position. At 100% PWM fan signaling, the TL-B12 was ranked 20th and retains that position. And the WonderSnail is ranked 46th. The value proposition noise normalized CFM testing, the TL-B12 is ranked 22nd and is now ranked 15th. The WonderSnail was ranked 31 and is now ranked 39th. In CFM testing, 100% PWM fan signaling, the TL-B12 was ranked 14th and retains that position. The WonderSnail is ranked 38th and retains its position. 6-inch mark in my case simulation test, noise normalized. The TL-B12 was ranked 25th. It is now ranked 16th, so an overall improvement in position there. The WonderSnail was ranked 21 and is now ranked 28th, so a little bit of loss in position there. The noise normalized of the 11-inch mark case simulation test, the TL-B12 was ranked 18th and is now ranked 16th. The WonderSnail was ranked 8th and is now ranked 16th. Value proposition, 6-inch mark, noise normalized. The TL-B12 was ranked 16th and is now ranked 9th. The WonderSnail was ranked 15th and is now ranked 17th. The TL-B12 at the 11-inch mark, noise normalized, was ranked 13th and is now ranked 10th. The WonderSnail was ranked 4th and is now ranked 11th. So this was largely for kicks and giggles before we get into the real graphs. So we got the TL-B12, the WonderSnail, the General Typhoon, the AF-120 Elite, the Tough Fan 12, the A12X25, the P12, the Silewings 4 Pro. Are we noticing a trend here? That's basically my point of looking at this. They all share a lot of similarities in terms of their overall design, and that was my point. This has been the major trend in the fan design for a little while now, starting with the General Typhoon, and it's not ending with, but certainly made popular by the A12X25. And I just really wanted to highlight this characteristic, and I would suspect we're going to see more of it going into the future. Okay, first up in the analyses is my case simulation test. So this, in its rawest form, is what size case do you actually plan on buying? So I did a number of data points that indicate different size computer cases. So we got the 6-inch mark, which is very representative of small cases. So not the ultra compact small form factor cases, but certainly small cases that are a front to back airflow type design. Or the 6-inch mark also is representative of if you put fans in the bottom of your case, similar to that of the Fractal Design Torn, and they blow up directly into your GPU. It's a short throw distance and would be very applicable to that data point. If you're getting a larger case, something in the compact tower range, the 9-inch mark is very representative of that. And the only ones I can really think of are like Dell Optiplexes or something like that, which are basically like their business type computers. That'd be representative of the 9-inch mark. The 11-inch mark is representative of your standard mid-tower cases, like the Fractal Design Meshify 2C, the Corsair 550D, the Stormtrooper looking Corsair case. Pretty much Fractal Design North, the one with the wooden panels in the front, would be representative of that size case. And the 14.5-inch mark is representative of a large tower, something like the Fractal Design Torn or other large towers. How do they compare? So on here in the teal line is my control fan. That is 3 parts A12X25 to 1 part A14. In general, 140 millimeter class fans tend to do better at blowing air at longer distances, so the 11 and 14.5 inch mark, while 120 millimeter class fans tended to do better at the 6 and 9 inch marks. So by blending 140 and 120 together, I felt created a good composite fan that gave a good representative point that other fans should strive to beat. So the TL-B12 starts off fairly well, a good overall airflow, and then it just starts to drop, where it finally it doesn't concentrate its airflow enough, so it just drops off. While the WonderSnail doesn't have very much airflow at the beginning, but its slowdown is so dramatically slow. It actually performs equal to my control fan at the 14.5 inch mark. It matches the TL-B12 at the 11 inch mark. This indicates that the WonderSnail would be a good choice in a bigger case. Now, at 100% PW fan signaling, the TL-B12 once again shows that its maximum airspeed is significantly higher than the other fan. And over here on the key, you have the fan name, the RPM, and the noise level generated. So the two fans have very similar noise levels. And I want to, my noise accuracy is plus or minus 2 decibels, so that is a 4 decibel range total. So fans that are within that noise range can be considered functionally equivalent, even if I think that they're actually placed where they are because I do multiple pass tests, meaning I test it multiple times, not just on the same day. I test it later on in like the week to make sure that I'm trying to average the results and make it as accurate as possible. Previously, my accuracy was plus or minus 4 decibels. That's an 8 decibel range, so I'm making improvements here, which is why I want to make that sound isolating box. But once we hit the 9 inch mark, the TL-B12 starts to lose performance relative to the WonderSnail. The WonderSnail is just outperforming my control fan significantly. The TL-B12 is very close in performance to my control fan, except at longer distances. How does it compare against other fans? Well, we saw that the TL-B12 right here is sort of the bottom end of what would be the pack of good fans, but it has a little bit of a steeper drop-off than most of them. The WonderSnail is what I consider the absolute bottom end of what I consider good. And the reason for that is its airflow pattern is so efficient that by the time you get to the 14.5 inch mark, it's actually square in the middle of the pack compared to the other fans, while the TL-B12 is at the bottom. So that's why I consider the WonderSnail the bottom end of what I consider a good fan. And just because, ooh, look, high over here, doesn't mean that you need to focus on this data. You need to look at what size case you actually own or plan on purchasing to know which of these fans would be most effective for you. And if you are using fans as a side intake, it's going to be bouncing off the side of the case, so the flow pattern doesn't quite matter as much, but I would still get a very tight flow pattern as opposed to a wide spreading one if you're using that as an intake and not a radiator there. A radiator, again, will straighten out that airflow, so it'll come out smoothly. And if you're using it as an exhaust, then whatever. How are things looking at 100% PW fan signaling? Well, just for kicks and giggles, this is the Ice Scale Extra. It is the top ranked fan so far that I've tested. So I just wanted to demonstrate how things can kind of just blow off the graphs. But right here is the WonderSnail. It doesn't have the peak. It's at shorter distances. It's just right in the middle of what I consider to be good fans, the main pack. But it just doesn't lose airspeed over distance. Matter of fact, at the 14.5 inch mark, it is outperforming the Iceberg Thermal Ice Scale Extra, which is flippin' amazing. Like, the difference in RPM is crazy between these two fans. While the TL-B12 is doing its thing, and depending on what size case you're looking at, it's either good, okay, lesser okay, or bad. Just kind of as simple as that. Now we're looking at the 9 inch mark. But the TL-B12 is basically middle of the pack until it starts reaching higher noise levels, so higher RPMs, where it flattens out significantly, indicating that its peak performance is actually at medium, high RPM. So up to maybe 2,000, I want to say. No, it doesn't go that high. Like 1,500, where it kind of peaks out as its optimal range. While the WonderSnail really just is wonderful. Now, you do see this vertical line actually lose a little bit of noise there. Don't know why, but that's what average out to be, where it's a nice, slow, steady gain up there. And as a general note, just because a line looks linear in here, it isn't. Every 10 decibels is a double in noise volume. So these are actually like, if I were to scale it properly, it would be zooming off into infinity. But it would be very hard to actually read what's going on the graph in that case. But they're both kind of okay. The WonderSnail is a little on the low side at this data mark, but it's okay. WonderSnail. TL-B12. Now we're on to CPU air cooler testing. My cooler is the Noctua U12A. On the left side, we have RPM versus airspeed. On the right side, we have noise versus airspeed. And both graphs, better performing fans are top left, worst performing fans are bottom right. Airspeed is vertical, RPM is horizontal, or noise is horizontal. And on the left side, this is basically a blade efficiency graph. It's how good is this fan at actually blowing air through a cooler. It's just as simple as that. The WonderSnail matches up my control fan. Actually is a little bit better than my control fan, but not by a large margin. The TL-B12 is right in line with the WonderSnail, so it's overall a good performing fan. How about noise performance? Well, at lower RPMs, lower air speeds, the TL-B12 is a little bit better performance than my control fan. The WonderSnail, on the other hand, is sitting a little bit underneath my control fan, so it's not quite as noise efficient at, all RPM ranges. So it's just a little bit noisier, but it's not a terrible result. I'd give it a, if my control fan is an A, I'd give it a B. The TL-B12 would be getting that B score as well. How do they compare against other fans? And the square boxes here are indicating fans that have a similar blade design, because I wanted to highlight how different they can be. It was kind of a kicks and giggles for me. It took a lot of time to actually make sure I was picking out the correct ones. The TL-B12 is sitting right here, blowing 1 meter per second of air. The WonderSnail is sitting right behind it, blowing 1 meter per second of air. Now, this indicates that not all 1 meter per second of air are rated equal to each other. But again, repeat testing, averaging results. This is the positioning despite them being the same overall base value. And you can see how there's a wide variation in performance between these fans. So we got the Tough Fan 12 Turbo, the Mobius 120p ARGB, Noctua A12X25, just to name a few. Now, at 100% PWM fan signaling, we got the wattages still going on the side. I still have the highlighted fan markers. And the TL-B12 is sitting right here at 1.9 meters per second of airflow, right in line with the A12X25. Now, there is a difference in the noise level that the fan generates. The A12X25 is significantly quieter. The WonderSnail is right up there towards the top. It's a little bit on the noisy side considering its RPM and the other fans around it, but it is blowing a very good amount of air, 2.2 meters per second of airflow. So it is definitely worth considering. Now, how does it compare noise versus airspeed versus noise? Airspeed is vertical, noise is horizontal, better fans are top left. Well, the TL-B12 has a very long range, meaning it can go from low air speeds to high air speeds, and it's varying noise levels in between. But it is sitting towards the bottom end of the good fans. So it's not that it's bad, it's just that it's not quite as good as other fans. The WonderSnail is kind of a similar story actually to the TL-B12, where it's good, but it's just not great. But it does get a little bit more efficient at its absolute maximum RPM, which means I'd actually like to see a super WonderSnail, a hyper snail, whatever Scythe's naming scheme is coming up, where basically they take the WonderSnail to the max. I'd actually like to see a 3000 RPM version of it, just to see how much it could actually crank out if that trend keeps holding true. Now we're on to CFM testing. A lot of fans that I see this behavior, but the WonderSnail is one of them, which is why I'd like to upgrade my CFM testing to a longer tube or a different testing apparatus that is actually more like a cone shape. As for the TL-B12, it lines up perfectly with my control fan. Noise performance, well, no surprise, the WonderSnail is terrible. The TL-B12 is a little bit under my control fan. Let's keep moving on. No surprise, WonderSnail is basically last. The TL-B12 is ranked towards the bottom. And like I said, the Kaze Flexes, so they're both Scythe fans, just have a hard time with this test. I don't know why, because the CPU air cooler, the heatsink there, is a pressure type test. At 100% pitot fan signaling, the TL-B12 is basically middle of the pack. We're not going to talk about the WonderSnail because we've already seen that result. Noise versus CFM, airspeed is vertical, so that's CFM. Noise is horizontal. WonderSnail is at the bottom, no surprise. The TL-B12 is the bottom end of what I consider to be a good fan. So let's move on to the next section. Now we're on to the value proposition. The WonderSnail is a $17 fan, and the TL-B12 is a $16 fan. That is both, but for all the fans, it's their standard retail pricing as I could find it. So as prices happen, or price changes happen, sales happen, the presentation for this data will change, meaning how one fan ranks next to another does make a difference. It's just something that I can't account for and test every single time, so I just have to go with standard retail pricing. So on all these graphs, noise normalized results are going to be on the left side, 100% pitot fan signaling is going to be on the right side, and we're going to have the fans kind of lined up against each other. So the TL-B12 is a better value than the WonderSnail at the 6-inch mark, and it's no surprise we did see it performing overall better. And I would call them both functionally upper middle of the pack, so it's not a bad place for them to be. At the 11 or 100% pitot fan signal, basically the positioning is very similar. At the 11-inch mark, the WonderSnail is not quite as good a value as the TL-B12, unless you're looking at 100% pitot fan signaling, but that's just a different side note. So they're overall pretty good, but they're a far cry from the top performers. CPU air cooler testing, the WonderSnail and TL-B12 are once again sort of in the middle of the pack overall, so not a bad place for them to be. At 100% pitot fan signaling, they're towards the upper end of it, but still functionally more or less in the middle of the pack. So overall, pretty good value, but not quite the peak value. In CFM testing, no surprise, the WonderSnail is going to rank very poorly, which is why I want to upgrade that test to see if it maintains true as I upgrade the tests. I certainly would be inclined to add more tests to get more data, to give you the best absolute data to know behaviors of these fans in a wide variety of scenarios. But the TL-B12 is overall in a good position, but it's still a far cry from the top value mark. So where does, and at the end of all of my videos, I do like to show off my raw data. And here it is. This data does belong to me. However, you're welcome to use it if it's going to be for your own private usage. By that, I mean you're going to create your own Excel chart and just for your own testing verification purposes or as a direct comparison. However you want to use it in that way. However, if you're going to use it in any sort of publication, journal, written, or video, I do ask that you reference me and my videos because I'm the one who generated it. And again, it does belong to me. Here's the WonderSnail. If you've got suggestions for fans that you'd like to see me test in the future, go ahead and leave it in the comment sections down below, and I'll see if I can acquire one. If you have constructive criticism for me or ways you think that I can improve my videos to make it a much more pleasant viewing experience, please leave that in the comment sections down below. I do take it very seriously. I want to make these videos as good as possible. Please hit that subscribe button. Please check out my Patreon page. It would really go a long way to helping me improve my basically overall testing. So I'd like to get there. And I guess other than that, thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you next time here on Computer Tech and More.